Zuckerberg. He's a big pussy. He's a woke pussy. Facebook and Instagram, that's where the vast majority of people are, and the vast majority of people are sheep.
Yeah.
And you can influence them over time.
Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg, who is the owner, chairman of Meta.
Yeah,
Meta is Facebook, and it's not just Facebook, is it? It's also Instagram as well.
Yeah.
There's a number of things he's done which you may or may not be aware of. He's got rid of his fact checkers.
Yep.
So they have these woke LGBTQ arses who sit around. If somebody, if you type into Facebook,
I've had loads of posts. I say loads. I've had a couple of dozen posts over the years I've been posting removed off Facebook.
Really?
And nearly all of them were LGBT trans related.
So he's got rid of. So first of all, he was interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Yep.
So as I said, Joe Rogan is now the media or the main media platform in America. He's got a big curly hairdo now as Zuckerberg, and I don't know if you know, but he now takes part in mixed martial arts. You know, the thing you'll be doing with Andy Burnham.
I know he trains. Has he had any proper fights?
He's had some fights. Yeah, he's had some fights. Yeah, so I know you maybe get some tips for him for when you're ready to take on Andy Burnham. Yeah, which, as I say, will be my first dictat when I take power.
Oh, I could take
Andy Burnham.
No, Zuckerberg.
You couldn't take Zuckerberg.
He's a big pussy.
He's only young. At least Burnham's about your age. Both in the sort of mid to late 70s.
Yeah, but I'd use his age against him.
Who?
Zuckerberg. He's a big pussy. He's a woke pussy. I would use his age against him, and where I lack age, I gain experience. I could take him.
If our listeners could our gentle listeners, viewers, if they could just vote who you prefer Nick to fight, either Mark Zuckerberg or Andy Burnham, I think that's what we need to do. Anyway, so I reckon he could take, because he's still a young guy and he's actually quite hench at the moment. Is Mark. So he's ended fact checkers. He has sacked Clegg.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, what's his name, Clegg?
Nick Clegg.
Nick Clegg, who's a former for our listeners. I'm sure
I've met him, Nick Clegg.
Have you? Yeah. He's a woke Liberal Democrat. He ran the coalition with Cameron briefly, but he's always been an arse and remains an arse. He's been sacked and replaced by a Republican, whatever his role is. But more interestingly, Dana White, who is the owner and chairman of UFC, which I know you follow, has now been appointed to the board of Meta. Yeah. So you're seeing a massive shift.
He's a big friend of Trump's.
He's a massive friend of Trump's. Yeah. Massive. He was, when Trump accepted the presidency, Dana White was there and made a speech on, because I don't think Dana White knew what was going on. He's a nice guy, Dana White, but he's a bit weird. But he gave a speech.
He reminds me of you, Dana White. You both got girly names.
But are both very, very masculine. For a girly name, but highly masculine men. I know that. After
Mark Zuckerberg, I then would fight Dana White, because there's no point being afraid of a girly name man.
Yeah. I'd like to see you fight Dana White. Yeah, I would take great pleasure in that. Dana White, as I say, a highly masculine man like myself. Yeah. And the reason I find this interesting, Nick, and I'd like your opinion, I've always believed there's a central mass of people who have no real opinions and go with the flow. Yeah. And I think Mark Zuckerberg sits in there. Mm. I don't think he's woke or whatever. No. I think he's just a guy. He's got a business. He likes to go with the winners. Yeah. Then he likes fighting and all that sort of stuff. He's seen the winners, which is Trump and Musk, and he's gone, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that's the case?
Absolutely.
And if that is the case, does that mean that mass in the middle will now start to shift towards our side, if you like?
Yeah. I would imagine so, because he's now going to be changing his platforms like Instagram and Facebook. They will become a place of, I'm not saying it's going to be totally free speech, but there'll be more free speech on that. My stuff now that used to get deleted off Facebook about trans being a mental illness will be able to stay up now, and that's one of the examples he gave, that saying a trans person is mentally ill will not be against our terms and conditions anymore.
Oh really?
That was the example here. And that's what I kept having my post taken down for. So things will change on there, and the more they change and the more people who use Facebook, because don't forget, Facebook and Instagram are heavily used by people who are non-political.
Yes.
Twitter's very political.
Yeah.
You've got an opinion to be on Twitter.
Yeah.
Very hard to change people's mind, impossible to change people's minds
Yeah.
on Twitter because everyone's adamant.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram, that's where the vast majority of people are, and the vast majority of people are sheep.
Yeah.
And you can influence them over time.
Yeah.
So now that's been relaxed. There's a whole new audience there now to be influenced.
And he's not being ambivalent about it. He's not being ambiguous about it. Is Zuckerberg, is he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's made that statement. He's appointed Dana White to the board of Meta.
Yeah.
He's gone on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He's met Trump. I mean, there's no ambiguity there, is there?
No, but he waited until everyone else is over the hill.
Yeah.
And he knows the direction of travel. He didn't do this a year ago, thinking Trump might win. He's waited, it's all happened, and now he's gone, right, that seems to be the way everyone's going, I'm going to go that way.
Yeah, but I don't mind that, Nick. I don't mind that.
It would have been better if he'd done that a year ago.
Yeah.
But he still could have resisted it.
Yeah.
But no, he's embraced it, and now we're going to have his platforms talking about the things we need to be talking about, so it's a benefit to the world again.
But what I mean is, I don't mind people in the middle who have no firm opinions shifting in a direction that happens to be the direction I want it to be.
Yeah.
I believe that people like us are entrenched in our views in, I would say, I hate to say it, but to the right of centre, and then you've got all the left wingers who are entrenched. You're not going to change their opinions.
Yeah.
It's the people in the middle who we've got to influence. And the fact we've influenced Zuckerberg now and he's shifted is a great sign, a great time. Almost better than Musk in a way, because Musk, is clearly has his opinions or whatever. Zuckerberg, who is clearly in the middle, has now shifted. And that to me is far more significant, I think, than maybe a lot of people are thinking.
Oh yeah, because it's the average Joe who's on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're not on Twitter.
Yeah. Zuckerberg, when he was on Joe Rogan, apparently mentioned that the Biden administration used to ring up his people and scream down the phone at them to remove, during the COVID period, to remove any memes or articles questioning in any way the COVID vaccine. And so we are now getting very clear visibility of how influenced everybody was during the COVID period. Around the vaccines, around the lockdowns, all that sort of stuff. It was massive. It wasn't...
We knew that was going on when we saw the Twitter files and stuff like that, but now we've got the owner of the company saying it as well.
Yeah.